podcast. If you hadn't already noticed, we've got some Army people here today. We'll get to them in just a minute. I hope all of you had a wonderful fall break. We have Army recruiter Sergeant Parker and Staff Sergeant Mills here, and I just wanted to share my this day in history. Before the Army was established, colonists were organized into ragtag militias with no real structure or unified chain of command. But in the spring of 1775, wanting to attack British near Boston, they knew they needed to be a little bit more with it in order to go after the British. That's when the official birth of the Army came in on June 14th, 1775, through a resolution from the Continental Congress. With that said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce and have you both say hello. Staff Sergeant Mills and Sergeant Parker.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Staff Sergeant Mills, and this is Sergeant Parker.
All right, so just to get started a little bit, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and how I joined into the Army, and then we'll go into more about what the Army has. All right, so obviously my name is Sergeant Parker. I'm from Opelika, Alabama. I've been in the military for 8 years. I joined at 17 years old, right out of high school as a senior. The reason I joined, I literally had no idea what I wanted to do and what I was going to do. I just knew that I wasn't going to go to college. So I joined the military, did my basic training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, my AIT, so my job training in Fort Benning, Georgia, and then I went to Korea for a year, my first duty station. After that, I came back to Fort Benning, spent some time there, and since then I've been to Fort Hood, Texas, Korea twice, Fort Stewart, Georgia, and now out here as a recruiter. All right, throughout my career, I've done many different things. I joined as a mechanic, but I've done everything from mechanics to, entry type stuff to every kind of job stuff. I got cross-trained in a lot of stuff throughout my time in the Army, as well as coming out here and learning something totally different, more of an admin side than a mechanic side. All right, so with that, I'm going to tell you now a little bit about the Army. I'm going to go over the active duty side, and then I'm going to have Sergeant Mills go over the reserve side. With the active duty side, the way that we kind of explain it is active duty Army is more of your full-time job, to whereas reserve is more of your part-time job. With the active duty Army, you get your benefits, so all your medical benefits paid for. You get housing paid for. You get your food essentially paid for. Everything like that is paid for, all right? But you're also giving up your time to wear this uniform pretty much 7 days a week, 365, all right? With that being said, with active duty, you're able to travel the world, go do things, and get more pay than you would as a reservist, obviously. With active duty, you're looking at, for education, your GI Bill, upwards to $100,000 to $120,000. All right. On top of that, you also get tuition assistance, which is $4,000 a year to use for college. What that means is, so me and Sergeant Mills are both active duty. We both have a GI Bill. All right. So I haven't touched my GI Bill. I'm currently in college right now at GCU. I've been using my $4,000 a year tuition assistance to pay for my college, so that when my kids are grown, I can give them my GI Bill and they don't have to come out of pocket for college. With this GI Bill, it can be swapped over to spouses, kids, anything like that. But I leave it alone, and then the $4,000 a year pays for my college so that I get my degree and I come out debt free. All right, so that's the biggest thing about the education benefits of it. Because if you don't use that $4,000 a year, it's just going to waste. It's not like they're giving it to you, it goes straight to the school to pay for your schooling. So if you're not using it, it's just sitting there not doing anything. All right, on top of that, like I said, your medical. So all your medical will be paid for. Ever since I've been married, I haven't paid anything out of medical. All I pay for is usually prescriptions. Your housing. So when you're married, the Army pays you housing depending on where you live. All right. So obviously, this area code here, I get paid more for housing than I do in Georgia because the cost of living is different. Here it's higher, there it's lower. So you're going to get paid for housing no matter what. When you're single, you get what they call barracks. All right, every post has barracks. Everywhere you go will have barracks for single soldiers to live. It's pretty much like a dorm room now. They've updated a lot even since me and Sergeant Mills have came in. They used to be like one big room of 4 or 5 people. They're no longer like that anymore. They are, usually you're just going to share a common area now. So you would just share the kitchen, the bathroom, stuff like that. You're going to have your own room, your own door, stuff like that, just like a college dorm where you will go into your own room. You won't see the other person unless you're going into the kitchen together or something like that. All right, with that being said, you still have amenities and stuff around you. So you have what they call the PX, the exchange, where you can go shop, do whatever you want. All Army posts are like mini towns. Once you get on them, you can go do whatever you want, however you want. A lot of people think that once you join the military, that you are locked down and doing whatever they want you to 24/7. That's not true. Essentially, it's just like a 9 to 5 job. We get up in the morning, we do PT, we go to work at 9 o'clock. Usually about 5, 6 o'clock, we're coming home, and then you're free to do whatever. You take the uniform off, you put on normal clothes, you go do whatever you need to do. All right, just like a civilian job or anything else. With that being said, back to the benefits and stuff you get. You're going to have your housing. So you have no bills, no power, no water, everything like that's paid for. And then on top of that, you get what they call the DFAC, is a cafeteria for all single soldiers. What that'll be is that already comes out of your paycheck before you ever even get it. All right, so you have 3 meals a day that you just go in there and you eat. All right, so you might as well use that to your ability, eat them, and then you don't have to come out of pocket for food. So essentially, no matter which route you go, single, married, either way into the military, your stuff's going to be paid for, whether it's food, housing, anything like that. All right. So with that being said, the biggest thing about active duty is serving and how long you're going to serve. All right. To get the GI Bill, that $120,000 for college, you have to serve at least 3 years. All right. So we do 2-year contracts, but if you don't extend and do that extra year, you will not get that GI Bill. All right. So whether you do 3 years, 10 years, blah, 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 so on and so forth, you have to do 3 years to get most of the benefits that you're going to get out of the military, whether you're joining for the pleasure, for the education benefits, no matter what, you have to do 3 years to get that. All right. That being said, I'm going to pass it on to Sergeant Mills so that he can talk about the reserves a little bit and go into that. Sergeant Mills, you're good to go.
How's it going, everybody? So I'm Staff Sergeant Mills. I've been in the Army. I just hit 6 years in July. I joined the Army in 2012. Same thing. I was a senior in high school. I joined about Thanksgiving time in 2011. So I was actually in what we call the delayed entry program. It's the point from where you join to where you ship to basic training. It's a little call. We call it the delayed entry program. So I was actually in that program for 10 months, and I was a senior in high school. So what they did was the recruiter basically made sure I graduated high school. He made sure that I would go work out with the other future soldiers twice a week, and basically made sure that I stayed in check. I stayed out of trouble, kept my nose clean, and made sure that I actually made it to that basic training day, because that was the same thing for me as for Sergeant Parker. My only plan was I was going to join the military. I tried to join the Air Force, and they wouldn't let me join just because the jobs that I wanted they didn't have. And I went to the Army, and I wanted to jump out of airplanes. So since that was going to be my one deal breaker, the Army said, well, if you want to be airborne, you got to be infantry. So I've been an airborne infantryman since 2012. The first place that I was stationed was Fort Richardson, Alaska. I was stationed there for about 3.5 years. At that point, I decided to actually get out of the Army. So I got out of the Army in 2015. I went to Texas Tech University because I'm from Texas. I went there for about 6 months for college. College wasn't my thing, so I decided to become an EMT firefighter. So using my GI Bill, I actually got a semester of college paid for and a EMT and firefighter certification as well. And I didn't pay any money at all for it. And they actually paid for my housing while I was going to school, which was something I didn't know about until I actually got out. So they paid for my housing, and all I had to do was show up to class. They paid for my books, everything. Um, so I actually joined the Army again for the second time as airborne infantry in 2017, and I ended up in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. If you've ever been out there, it's super humid and hot. So if you ever go there, make sure you wear shorts and a t-shirt or a tank top, because it's really warm out in that on the East Coast. I've been all over the world. I spent some time in Europe training with the 82nd Airborne Division. When I was in Alaska, I spent a lot of time in the Pacific. I went and stayed in Australia for 30 days just because they needed someone to go there and train with another unit. So I went there for 30 days. I ended up being in Japan for about 2 weeks, spent some time in Canada for about the same amount of time, 2 weeks. Trained in Bangladesh as well. Bangladesh is really close to India. I think it's just above India. So I've spent a pretty decent amount of my time actually traveling and training in foreign countries, much less being stationed in Alaska, and there's not any penguins or igloos there. It's like a mini version of Phoenix. It's just really close to the mountains. So it's modern. There's a lot of stuff up there. And then I ended up actually coming down on orders and coming out to recruiting, and I've been here out about a year. And I enjoy it. I really like it. I really enjoy the Army. The Army's paid for my house. You know, I bought a house. I just bought a brand new truck. I'm married. My wife is also, she's in the military. She's in the Air Force. So we both get to recognize the benefits from both branches, and we get to benefit from, you know, being dual military, both being married. We have a daughter, and like Sergeant Parker said, anytime we go to the doctor or go to the dentist or go to optometry to get our eyes looked at, everything is paid for. My wife's going to college for mechanical engineering. She's using tuition assistance as well. The Air Force has just a little less than we do. They get 3,700 and we get 4,500. So I'm going to school on that as well. 12, I think we're both doing 12 hours full time while we're going to school. We still get federal benefits as well. So your FAFSA, your Pell Grants, student loans, we don't have to take any of that out just because our school's literally paid for. So our FAFSA goes into our pocket in case we need to buy a laptop or some more expensive books, or maybe our tuition assistance runs out. We have that FAFSA money to use extra for college. So we get to what we call double dip into federal and military benefits just for school. And the biggest thing with going to college is you want to come out on the other side debt free. That's the biggest thing is you don't want to come out of school with 70, 80, $90,000 in debt. So Sergeant Parker talked about the Army, the active duty Army side. The Army Reserve side for me is what I like to talk about. I do really well with the Reserve. The biggest thing with the Reserve is it's a part-time job. So if you're a student right now and you're a senior and you're looking into ways to pay for college because, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, there's not a lot of trees in Arizona. The biggest thing is there's a way where you can maximize your benefits and have still $70,000, $80,000 in college, or $80,000 in education benefits to go to college. So the three biggest things that come with joining the Reserve is one, so you'll leave to go to basic training in AIT. Every soldier has to. You'll get to go to college, and you only have to wear the uniform 2 days a month. So it's the first Saturday and Sunday of every month, and then 2 weeks during the summer for your annual yearly training. So you really only put the uniform on for about 38 to 40 days a year, compared to a whole 365 day calendar year. And you still get the same benefits. You get the same education, you get the same medical. So if you break your teeth, you can get your teeth fixed. If you have glasses, you can get RPK or PRK or LASIK eye surgery, and they'll pay for it. Or if you just have the sniffles and you have a cold and a fever, and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to the doctor and get some antibiotics because that's what I need. They pay for that as well. I've had to go to the doctor once or twice since I've been out here, and I've never received a medical bill. Medicare, you could probably ask any of your teachers or instructors or professors. Medicare, medical, anything is very expensive. So getting that paid for, or surgeries or whatever, is really beneficial because if you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to sustain yourself and live. So you got to stay healthy. Um, the biggest three benefits that you get is with the reserves, we usually have a big cash bonus, so it can go anywhere from $7,000 to $20,000. And the big one that really matters is the student loan repayment, which can go up to $50,000. So basically, what that means to you is if you join the reserve and you come to me and you say, Staff Sergeant Mills, I have $50,000 in student loans I need paid for. I'm going to ask you for a transcript and a copy of the federally funded loan that I hope you would have. Once you provide me with those two documents, you give them to me, and the unit assumes possession of your federal loans, and we pay the federal loans off. And that means if you used up all your benefits and the very last thing that you had to use was your student loans, well, now you have $30,000 to $50,000 that you can actually pay for. The biggest thing a lot of people are afraid of with the Army is deploying, leaving home, getting shot at, a lot of those things. Army Reserve does not have combat jobs. So I'm an infantryman by trade. You know, anything about like if you've seen Black Hawk Down or any movies where guys are shooting at each other, that's usually what the infantry does. And in the reserve, there is not an infantry job. There's not. So the biggest benefit is the jobs that you're going to have are going to be a lot more advantageous for you to transition once you're done with the military or the Army to the civilian world. So the applications for the reserves are very beneficial if you just want to serve part-time and be able to stay here at home with your, you know, your wife, your kids, your dog, your mom and dad, you know, your friends, go to Arizona State, go to um, Arizona University down in Tucson, whatever you want to do, you have that ability. And active duty doesn't really give you that much flexibility. So let's say you're going to school in Arizona State and all of a sudden your family's moving to Colorado and you're freaking out. Oh man, I'm in the Army Reserve. I'm not going to be able to leave. I have to stay here. I go to college. It's not true. The Army Reserve has units all over the country. There's probably 15 or 20 units per state. So all you have to do is submit just one document to your commander. The commander will tell you yes, you'll get approved, and then you're cleared to move from one unit to another. So you could hop one unit every state if you wanted to. So there's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of the reserves are very fluid. There's a lot of stuff you can do, and if you pick one job, as let's say you join as a plumber and you decide, hey, you know what, I want to have some fun. I want to go be a military police officer. You can literally hop from one job to another as well. So as long as you show up for drill and show up right place, right time, right uniform, there's a lot of really good stuff you can do, active duty or reserve. So that's my reserve.
Thank you. So I have a question for you. You have to take the ASVAB.
Yes.
So my question is, do you have a tier? So if I hit this score, I know I can qualify for these jobs. If I hit this score, is that still the same way as it used to be? And
Yes, sir.
and
So absolutely.
to be able to get a list to know what they should shoot for.
Yes, so our biggest thing is so passing is a 31. All right. Obviously, if you score 31, good job, you can get certain jobs. But like you're saying, certain jobs require a certain score. So that your ASVAB is going to be your bread and butter, your credit, essentially, like you're buying a car. That's going to be your credit, is what you score. Anything above 50 is pretty much going to get you what you want, no matter what you're wanting in the Army. Anything above 50 is going to get you essentially what you want. But 31 is passing.
So if you want like a medical job or a military intelligence job, or you want to fly drones for the Army, like on Call of Duty, yes, we do have drones that you can fly. Very extensive technical jobs like that are going to require a higher ASVAB score, like you said, above a 50. And the higher you score, being a 50 or above, opens you up to the bonuses and the more stuff that you're able to earn just upon initial entry into the Army, whether it's active duty or reserve. And the money, the bonus is just more an incentive because if you want to be a combat medic and you can get a $10,000 bonus, not only are you getting the bonus, but you're also getting the job you want because you might as well join and do something that you're going to enjoy waking up every morning and doing. So,
Absolutely. So we do have a couple of high school students that have in the past said they were interested in joining the Army. What would a student need to do if they are a senior and they want to go ahead, or maybe they're a junior this year and they're thinking, very far ahead? What steps should they take in order to start the process or get some more information?
so if they wanted to initially start the process, there's kind of some minimum qualifications that you have to meet. We call them the pre-qualifications, mind you. So the first one being you would have to be at least 17 years old, so about that junior senior time frame. If they're 17, your parents have to meet with us and we have to sign a parental consent. And basically, what that does, it gives us the ability to take you to go process, have you travel in a vehicle. It's really a liability to make sure that your parents and the actual individual is okay with processing with us because they're not officially an 18-year-old, adult. If you are 18 already, then you already have that ability. You could come to our office, sit down with us, talk to us, fill out you could do, the whole enchilada with us without your parents. But we always want you to have your parents involved because your parents are going to advise you as we would to make the best decision for you. Um, there's a handful of ways you could talk to one of us. We'll leave our business cards, or we can post our social medias, our phone numbers, just however you guys want to, so you can get in contact with us, so we can make sure and ask you our basic pre-qualification questions. Basically being, a U.S. citizen or having a permanent residence card, having at least a GED or currently being enrolled as a senior, and then at some point having that at least that minimum 31 qualification. Or if you have less than a 31 test score, we can help you, and we have ways. It's literally our job to make sure that you are successful in joining the U.S. Army. That is our job, is essentially guidance and career counselors, is to help you and guide you towards the best direction possible for that individual.
Nice, very nice. Well, I will have to say, growing up in the military, my dad was a staff sergeant. I spent, let's see, 4th grade, 5th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade in Heidelberg, Germany. So I really enjoyed that. So as a child growing up in the military, it was really cool. As the spouse of a military person, you do get to travel a lot. So it's a pretty nice gig. Does anybody have that's on the call with us? Anybody have any questions that they would like to ask our recruiter?
Yes, I have one, but it's kind of, not really a question.
Go ahead.
What are your guys' thoughts on the sea lovers?
On the what?
Sea lovers, and by that I mean the Navy SEALs.
Oh, well, if you look at the Navy SEALs and their mission set, I mean, they are like special operations. The Army has two or three sets of special operation groups as well. And you can't really say that one special operations group is better than the other, because they all have a unique mission. So the Navy SEALs being in the Navy, attached to the Marine Corps, because each branch has a system. Army and Air Force work together, and the Navy and the Marines work together. So they have a mainly directed sea mission, as Green Berets or Army Rangers, for example, are inserted via helicopter, aircraft, whatever it may be. So I mean, they're all special and unique in their own way. So one's not really better than the other, because they all have because they aren't, Navy SEALs do dive school. Well, the actual dive school they go to is a U.S. Army school. A lot of the schools that, sniper school, ranger school, all the big schools that the Army, that everyone goes to, the Army has. So Navy SEALs have to go to our airborne school. They have to go to our military free fall school. They have to go to our sniper school. Army hosts all the other branches in general, and their special operations in our school.
That's pretty dope. I didn't know that. When I did ROTC, I remember my commanders and all of them was just talking so much smack about Air Force and the Army. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like the Air Force has pararescue or PJs. Their literal main job is to go save people when they need saving. The Green Berets they are self-sustaining. They have medics, they have artillerymen, they have their weapons guys. They are 100% unique in their own individual way.
All right. Thank you.
I really appreciate both of you coming today. This has been a really insightful discussion. And I do encourage, like I told my brother was 19, sitting on my couch, not employed. And I'm like, dude, it's time. And he's like, yeah. He joined the Navy. He is 46. He has retired from the Navy, has a full pension, and is going to University in San Diego to be a teacher. And he and his children, his son, will both get to go to school for free. I'm assuming he's saving the GI Bill for his son. And he'll have 2 retirements by the time he's old enough to actually retire. It's pretty cool. All right. Well, I want to encourage anybody to reach out that may have any questions. And it was good to have you on. And now you all are in the know. And thank you so much for coming today. Oh, Miss Francis, did you want to say something before we go?
Yes, if you are on campus and you want more information, these two gentlemen are going to be up in the front. They brought some goodies, pens, pamphlets, and all that stuff. So teachers, if your student wants to come on out here, send them out. We'll be out here for a little bit.
All right. All right. Well, Wednesday podcast is Wellness Wednesday, and I hope to see you all then. And outside of that, you are in the know, and we will see you on Wednesday. Bye.
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 Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.